Well, folks, good evening and welcome to the Sports Talk with Chris Idell, a special edition of the 90th Orange Bowl. And it looked like something that we really want to talk about this evening. If you were just got home from work, or did you just got home from being in a cave for 3 weeks, that is not a misleading score down there at the bottom there.
No, that's not misleading, folks. That's
Adam and Matt there. You know the guys who join us every Monday. But next week we'll be back with our first show of 2024 on a Wednesday because Maryland is playing Purdue, the number one team in the country, on Tuesday night, and yours truly will be down there, hopefully covering that. So we'll talk about that a little bit later in this little hour show, just to tell folks. So what's your take? That was the worst loss in Florida State history. You have to basically, and if you're Willie Taggart, you're very happy that you're not part of any top of the food chain on that one, because that's something Mike Norville has to deal with now.
It's true.
The worst loss in Orange, and also the worst loss in Orange Bowl history too.
Yeah, and I will say this for all of you that we were there in New York. We were there at the ACC championship game, in Charlotte, see Brock Glenn as quarterback, and he had all his number one wide receivers, and I think a lot of them, the reason why they opted out is because they're not playing for the national championship, and some of them transferred.
I personally understand why.
Yeah, I mean, Tate Rodemaker's in the transfer portal. DJ Lundy's going to Colorado. So a lot of them are going in to the NFL draft as well. So we'll see what the future holds for Florida State after, it's called spring practice. We'll be here before we know it. And, we're thinking Brock Glenn is going to be the starting quarterback, but they have a heck of a quarterback that they signed in late signing day a couple weeks ago. So,
well, let's just do a little recap here. And our friends from the ACC network, on the field down there, say hello to Eric down there. Eric, and I feel bad for our good friend EJ. How to deal with that.
EJ Manuel,
guys. Go ahead, Matt.
And here's the thing. Florida State did not have their starters in there. Okay, they didn't have Travis because he got injured. Rodemaker got into the transfer portal. Okay, and they lost some other key starters. So this is more of a credit to the caliber of team Georgia is than Florida State. So Florida State fans and community out there, you have nothing to be ashamed of. You had one hell of a season, and you should be very, very proud of yourselves. Playing with guys that have opted out, either going to a draft or going ahead and going into a transfer portal, or like Jordan Travis was injured. Okay, we did not have our starters in every position in this game. And again, this is more credit to Georgia and what they're doing and the dynasty that they're building, because look at what they did to TCU last year in national championship game, 65-7, the worst loss in the history of the national championship. Okay, I know they said another history tonight.
But that's our defense. Peyton, number 11 from Florida State, had a chance to get that fumble. If they got that fumble, guys, in the beginning, in that first quarter, it'd probably be a different ball game.
I will agree.
Yeah. Would have the ball midfield, and then you give it off to your running backs. But I feel like that didn't work out that way, because the next play, if you see the next play, I was bringing up next play. Here is
and hopefully
the running back
State, that bubbles up some confidence.
So that's us. I think I had Milton somewhere, but Milton just basically took down went to the right, and there was like nobody there. It was like free real estate. You know, it's like what are you doing? Yeah, yeah.
I will say this. I will say that even though Brock Lesnar had a lot of time, to prepare, he actually one of the highlights for Florida State was Brock Lesnar threw an incredible pass to Portier, one of his wide receivers, and they were in the red zone. And I think they should have ran it instead of throwing it. Trying to score, and maybe that would have given them some momentum. Fortunately, we only came away with 3 points.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk, Adam and Matt. Let's talk about the second quarter. It's around the 12:34 mark. Okay, that's where that's where I was. We were. I was getting my food. We stopped and I got something to eat. And I was out and about. Okay, it was a 6-play drive. Okay, it was a great 6-play drive. All right, it was basically like Florida State finally woke up and got things rolling. Like, okay, we're only down 14-0. Let's get it rolling. I would love to be in the press conference right now and ask Mike Norvell, like, why did you go for 3 that you could have gone for 7? And I know your quarterback is terrible, but you should bring somebody else in to be your quarterback, and get 7 points. And that would be a little more momentum changing because they'll be happy they're down 14-7 instead of 14-3. And then all of a sudden the floodgates open up. And I think I haven't seen 35 points scored in the second quarter since the Super Bowl in 1987 between Doug Williams and the Washington Redskins taking on the Denver Broncos.
I remember that game. Yeah, that was Doug Williams. He played his college ball down in Louisiana at Grambling University, and obviously he knows about playing in really big games because of the Grambling Southern rivalry down there, in the SWAC. So, but guess we can, we as Florida State fans, can think of the positives for the year. We did go 13-0. We did win the ACC championship. It wasn't the way we wanted to win, but a win is a win, and but we'll see what happens springtime.
But Florida State really has a lot to be proud of themselves for. They played. They had a great season. They had a great ACC championship game, and they overcame a lot of obstacles when Travis went down. They had to get through a couple games. So they did a tremendous job. And Georgia in their past 2 bowl games, the national championship game, this game has scored 128 points. So they've outscored their opponents 128-10. Okay,
wow,
that is just absolutely unheard of. Okay, because TCU scored 1 touchdown last year in the championship game. Okay, and I forget how many points Michigan scored. I forget how many points, maybe 10 or so. I forget, but I'm just counting the national championship game in this game, and it's just, this again is give more props to Georgia than negative of Florida State because there's nothing. Florida State fans should be very proud of it, proud of their season, and this is not the Florida State team that went to the ACC championship game, or went to the regular season. So, I'm looking forward to another great Florida State season. And and I'm hoping that all the Seminole Nation is looking forward to another great season as well in the ACC with the Noles.
Well, if you folks are out there and are watching us here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, you could always chime in. You can go to the comments section, you Seminole fans, and if you have a question about what do you think, for next year? Because if you look at next year's schedule, we have to go to Diblin, Aaron, bring out the paint and get drunk before we do need one right now.
Get our pints of Guinness.
Get
our pints of Guinness.
Guinness, we do need one right now after this game. I think Mike should fly over there right now and go.
Yeah. Yep.
trinket over there.
We need yeah, we do, and but
Yeah, but like Matt said, be thankful for a season that nobody gave Florida State any credit
no,
because they were like, oh, we don't know. We think, we were at the ACC kickoff, Adam, and they were talking, oh, Clemson's going to be there, and
sure did. Yeah, I remember that in July. I remember that in July.
Yeah, and maybe Duke's going to show up there, and blah 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 blah, and everybody looked at Florida State and said like, oh, we don't even know if they're going to be there. Jordan Travis is, a target because of his way they're going to win the Heisman Trophy, and I talked to him about how how he got distractions, and I think he did a great job with the distractions. He got rid of everybody's distraction, but and then you get your we get down to start of the season, and Florida State beats LSU, and Brian Kelly runs his mouth and and says like we're we're going to kick the snot out of Florida State, and then he turns around and says, I didn't say that.
Yeah. I don't forget, Chris. And this will stick with me forever. I'll still never forget when you and I were waiting on the shuttle, to go back to our hotel, and we saw Mike Norvell and Jordan Travis and Trey Benson, walking, and how they were going into Ruth Chris's Steakhouse, and it was like, I mean, growing up watching Florida State, it's like I don't know. I can say I'll never get a chance to meet Bobby Bowden, but talking with Coach Norvell there, and also in Charlotte at the ACC, press conferences, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and in the ACC championship game, that was definitely an incredible memory and time that all of us had. I mean, just being down there in Charlotte and seeing a very hard-fought game and battle, a defensive battle, and it was just a great time that we all had down there.
Yeah. So, Anna, let's welcome our next guest.
Yeah, sure. When we three were in Charlotte, we had this lady on and her dad is in the Florida State Hall of Fame, and she graduated from Florida State. She eats, sleeps, and breathes the garnet and gold. So let's bring in Miss Priscilla Proctor, who we had on early when we were in Charlotte. So Priscilla, I know it's not the way Florida State wanted to end their year, but overall, talk about the year Florida State had, and get a spin on what happened this year.
So you want my opinion on?
Yeah, I do.
And I do. People keep messaging me, so I'm having to flip them off. Not flip them off, but flip the messages off.
You're good.
Sorry. I'm just trying to lighten the mood because I feel horrified right now at the score. Well, okay. Going back to before the season started, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
I'll
good. Going back to before the season started, I recall, because I sit on Instagram and I watch all the players, I recall so many of the players who wanted to go onto the NFL, slowly but surely coming back to FSU, joining the Bows In Collective. We're going to make this a brotherhood. We can do this. We're going to go for that championship. And we looked like, and we did have what I thought and still think was a phenomenal football team. I mean, there's just no way around that, in my opinion. And I said this in my last interview, every game they managed to win somehow. Once Travis was hurt, they took their second string quarterback, they won. Once he was hurt, they took their third, they won. They covered every spread. They won their ACC division title. What else do you want? And then here come the powers that be and say they're not good enough for the playoffs.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I know your question was, as the season progressed, I saw like they just all these different ways that they found to win, whether it was utilizing the defense more, whether it was Travis going to heck with it, I'm running the ball, whether it didn't matter. They all had their, I guess it's, why they have special teams, but they all had their unique way of doing things. If one set was having an off night, if one set of players was having an off night, somebody else came in and said, that's, I've got it, in my opinion. I'm going to run the ball a little bit more. The defense has to play harder this time. That's kind of how I saw it as the season went on, because once Travis was injured, it took a lot of air, I think, out of people, but they stepped up to the plate. And then to watch Norvell sitting in that room with his players, I just had an ex-player message me. That was painful. It was. Sit in that room and hear that they did not get a slot. I watched that, and I watched the air just come out of the room, and I felt sick to my stomach. I'm still sick to my stomach. I'm just disgusted, because what else can you do? You do 2 out of division teams. You play 2 on a neutral ground, and you win. You cover the spread. You win all your games. You cover the spread. You use your second, third quarterback. You cover the spread and you win. You win the ACC championship title, but you're still not good enough. So now, because Georgia beat the pants off of us tonight, they're going to say, "Oh, well, we told you so." But how many people are on there? How many players are on there who were first string? Like maybe 2 or 3, maybe.
I know. I think Patrick Payton from the defense.
Pat Payton.
Yeah, and it's like, I will say that I've talked to a lot of Florida State fans up here this week or so that are visiting, for New Year's, and they're still mad after what happened. I asked them, are you still mad about what happened? And it's like, yes, they did. It's like, we will never get over.
Here's my question.
If it's 5 years, 10 years, we will never forget this moment, in Florida State athletics history. They'll go.
No, it makes me sad too, because you have this young boy, Brock. He is young. He literally was in high school last year, and this is thrown on him at the last minute. And, then at the last minute, we have a few more players that we're finding that we thought might help us. They either opted out, or they couldn't play, or they're injured, or whatever. And it just keeps getting worse and worse until you just feel gutted. And like, what are we going to do? And you're trying emotionally to keep hope alive, because that there's so much heart. FSU has so much heart in them. And we have some of the best coaches in the country. Nobody can tell me different. But how can you go up against first string players of Georgia who've been the national champs a few times in the last few years? Those are big boys. They were powerful players, to our second and third string players who haven't really had a lot of practice other than the last few weeks, when they found out that a lot of their brothers were going on to the NFL. They didn't want to risk injury. They were transferring. I'm not getting enough play time, and this non-playoff situation has hurt us to the point where, and this is all my opinion, I think a couple of our recruits may have moved to other places because of, what if we go and we do everything we're supposed to do, but we still don't make it to the playoffs, right?
Right.
I just, in the beginning, I felt a little bit of hope, but then it was dashed as time went on. It was a mountain that they could not climb tonight, and it's not their fault. Those kids on the field tonight were there doing what they could, but it wasn't their fault what happened. They had heart. They just, you can't beat a beast like that when you've not played against it. So
well, guys, I have a question.
Well, and Priscilla, just like what I was talking about before you got on and everything, is that Florida State should be should be proud of the season that they had. This is not their team that they had in the ACC championship game and all the rest of their games. And I know it's a very tough loss with the amount that Georgia beat us by. I mean, but again,
It's a
Georgia
basketball
was the
score.
2-time defending champs. They did win 65-7 against TCU last season, in the championship game. So I mean, the thing is that Florida State has had one tremendous season, and Mike Norvell, his whole staff, the players should be extremely proud of the way that they played, and when the guys that played on the field tonight should be proud with the fact that they had a short amount of time, not much
Yeah.
exposure, experience, in-game experience. Okay,
Yeah.
they should still be
Yeah.
proud that they were on that field. They represented Florida State Seminole Nation. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. You
Yeah.
know, I saw I was looking at Instagram. I think it was yesterday, maybe, or early this morning. Can't remember. Travis had put up in his story a little picture of he and Brock in transit on a bus, and Brock was asleep, just whooped out. And you know, I thought, there's our leading quarterback who's, you know, recovering from an injury, sitting next to our third string, who's just still a boy. I mean, you know, he's literally was in high school last year, preparing him mentally and physically, doing the best he can to prepare him for the Orange Bowl against a team like Georgia. And my heart I was so proud that Travis was there doing that, for him, for our team. I have some things that I feel tonight that I probably won't share because I'm a little disappointed, but everybody has their reasons for why they did not join the team tonight and finish, if you know what I mean. Everybody has different opinions on that. So I have really had last night, I really took it from a gator last night on my timeline. A couple of y'all I'm speaking with right now are friends of mine. You may or may not have seen it. He wouldn't shut up about it. But, you know, my question to him was, where's his bowl? Because I don't even, are you watching your bowl? Are you?
Well, Priscilla, I don't want to interrupt, but you should tell them, like, are you playing in the Gainesville Invitational? That means you're sitting on the couch watching football. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know,
or getting ready for baseball season in February.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether it's 63 or 100, somebody said tonight, I think it was Booger. He said, we deserve.
I know where you're going.
Spot
75-3. It was Florida State did, you know, even, you know, Florida State had an incredible year, and they should not, you know, keep their heads down after what happened. And
they have nothing to be ashamed of.
I will
tonight,
say this, that,
just look at it as experience. They had such a great season. I think, honestly, this will be one of the seasons I remember for a very long time because of how, I mean, it's hard to win one game, let alone 13. And all of them do everything you're asked, not just by 1 or 2 points, the spread, you cover it every time. That's not easy. That's hard. And they managed to do it. So they have everything to be proud of. You know, I was talking to Dad after the game, and he said, you know, you got a young kid out there. I did notice that they were letting Brock throw farther tonight. You know, it was kind of shorter in the beginning. Yeah. I think he was being a little bit conservative. I understand that. He's young. He's nervous. He's, you know, playing in his first bowl game, lead quarterback. I get it. But I was happy to see that. I really thought he did a good job of placement tonight. What do y'all think?
I think
his throw.
I think he did okay. You know, this time around, he knew he was the quarterback. Now, yeah.
I mean, I think he did. I think he did a great job for, again, the limited exposure that he had. He played in the ACC championship game. He won. Okay, and he managed the game extremely well. Now, again, Louisville is tremendously different from Georgia, as we all know. But, really? I mean, I think he did a great job with what he was given. And plus, this game, he didn't have his starters. With the ACC championship game, he had his starters in there. So you're playing with second, third string players, which hurt him and hurt the team.
Yeah. And this is
Priscilla, go ahead.
The defense, Oh, sorry. Who's
Well,
on
that's
first?
okay. We got
The
3 people
defense
talking at the
was
same
like
time.
just
Yeah.
I apologize. The defense was just amazing that night. They're always amazing, but that night they covered everything. They really, and then Ryan, I don't think that people maybe gave him enough credit for all the field goals he gave us that night. Ryan Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's
Well, I got some questions. We actually have viewers right now. Jason sent us a message. Reason for not joining FSU was young men were learning the business, didn't want to risk their career in a game that has no meaning, and busted all in season, and told about these games are worthless. Well, yeah, the bowl games, yes. If you opt out, these games are worthless. Yeah, for the fans because they're looking forward to see Travis and all the
right.
people who,
Yeah.
and then he also said, Jason also said, Brock was given nothing in this game. He was just lucky he wasn't injured. Well, yeah, you were lucky he didn't get knocked out, but
Yeah.
he was basically managing the game.
Yeah.
He was literally, Jason. He was just, good questions, Jason. Thanks for tuning in tonight. But I look at it as, what can you do? And I said to my brother the other day, my brother Will, who's a Miami Hurricane fan, I said, what can we do in the NCAA that could work if we had the same situation another time? Not us, but another team. They get down to their third string quarterback, and we'll say he gets injured. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna try? You can't bring anybody up from the system. So I'm saying, what about using the transfer portal and say, or you're allowed to go and grab one quarterback for a test, like test drive a car. Yeah, test drive him. See what he looks like, and then you offer him a scholarship. Like, hey, you did a great job. Thank you for filling in. You gave us a national title or a Orange Bowl win, and here, we'll give you a scholarship for next year to be the starting quarterback. My brother said, well, that can't happen. I was like, well, they do that in baseball with the baseball rosters, in the postseason. If you have an injury, you're allowed to go to that roster and bring somebody out because you have an injury. Why can't you do that in the NCAA?
That's a good question.
And it makes me think, why do the transfer portal thing before the bowl game? I hate that. I wish they would go after. It really
should be
hurts
after
the
the game.
players who went and played tonight. It's really, this is again all my opinions, but it's so unfair. I mean, it's like, oh, go ahead and transfer, then you're not here with us, and it just every day that went by, I heard of one more name, two more names that weren't playing. I was like, oh my God, who's left? So I think I just, but going back to what I was telling Daddy was saying, the beginning of all this was when the committee decided that we weren't going to be a part of the playoffs. It disgusts me. I can't even tell you how much it disgusts me. How much more can you do to be a part of the playoffs? Now, I know they say next year will be different because but I will never forget this year for number one, how good we were. Number two, how much we were snubbed and how it hurt the team, the coaches, the fans. I mean, I just am speechless. And looking at the TV tonight, I can't remember the last time I saw a score like that for us. When was it? I hate to say what I'm thinking, but was it back when Coach Taggart was in? I don't know.
Yeah, Taggart was the last one. It was 59-10, and that was against Clemson.
Close to that.
So, yeah.
And I know that tonight was probably a bit demoralizing for them to have something like this happen after they've been a part of a team that's done so well. So, you feel kind of sorry for them. They gave it their all, but they were thrown in the fire. So I just hope that I hope that we get, we had our early signing day, and I hope this doesn't scare any more recruits off. That's my main thing, because they need to realize that, and again, all these are my opinions, they are being trained or will be trained under some of the best coaches, Norvell, Atkins, Dugans, Odell, in the country. I think I'd rather that and go on and be picked higher up in the draft than end up in a bowl game somewhere that now seems like it's an invitational.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Jason, chime back in. Thank you, Jason, for tuning in.
Well, let me say something with that, because if the recruits are just judging this on one game, then they don't belong in Florida State. Because let me tell you one thing: Mike Norvell and his staff, they will develop these men, and when they're going to be very productive men on and off the field, they're going to lead productive lives, and Mike Norvell is going to change their life, okay, and not just on the football field, okay. He has already changed these young men's lives, okay. Just think about Jordan Travis. I mean, in my opinion, Jordan Travis. I mean, I know he got injured, but he should have won the Heisman, in my opinion, with the kind of
Yeah. No doubt.
things I've seen him do
His
on and off the
character.
field, especially off the field, and stuff with helping out the second string, the third string quarterback and everything. So I mean, so this is the thing. I mean, Mike Norvell, his staff is going to would go ahead and help these young individuals, these young men, turn into very productive men in our society. And that is a life-changing thing that not every single individual has. But Mike Norvell really has that talent. He has that knack. I mean, in my opinion, Mike Norvell was a motivational speaker.
Yeah. Well, what I was referring to, like when the committee snubbed our team, it made me wonder, like, did that scare a couple of our recruits off? Like, if we do everything we can, will we still not be able to make it to the playoffs because of this nonsense? You know what I mean? So more that than our game tonight. I think a lot of the recruits, I can't speak for them, but I think they probably assumed that it might not be what we expected. The outcome was not going to be what we were.
And I will say, I'll read a tweet
because we don't have the players that we had.
Yeah, and I'll read a tweet from ESPN's Booger McFarland, and you know where I'm going with this, Priscilla.
Okay,
Florida State can lose 75-3. Doesn't change the fact that they should have been in the playoff, and the 23 opt-outs, 12 to 13 stars would have played. That's true.
Yep, I saw that earlier. Absolutely.
Yep.
We deserve
a
right.
At least we can say we have people at ESPN who are on our side, and we won't get started with the people who were not on our side. I
think there's more than him too, don't you think?
RG3 is on our side. RG3 is on our side. I've seen.
I think Andrea tends to not be too hard on. I think she does a pretty good job of covering this, don't you think? Or what do you think?
Yeah, it's like if I'm Reese Davis, I'm Kirk Herbstreit, and all these people who died at Florida State. College Game Day is going to Ireland next year for Georgia Tech, Florida State. If I'm Reese Davis and Kirk Herbstreit, I don't go there because Florida State fans are going to attack both of them about what they said about when Florida State got snubbed, and it's like, I mean. This, Priscilla. It's called, you've seen this on Facebook and social media. It's called, when all this happened, all those Florida State fans, they didn't take too kindly to what they said, and they still won't.
No, right. We are the wrong team to mess with on that, our fans.
That's right.
Can I say something? Can I say something? I was just watching the ACC network, and Mike Norvell stood there after the game is over and watching Georgia, and I could see the fire in his eyes going, I'm coming back. We're going to be here again next year, and we're going to make a personal, this is going to be a revenge next year.
This is going to be a revenge story next year.
I like his fire. I like his eyes. His eyes are like so bright, because I was watching him down in Charlotte. His eyes were like,
besides being a stellar human being, he's really, I think what I get from him, besides just his character, I'm referring to Coach Norvell, great character, great motivator, great coach. He's competitive
and a funny guy too.
Did not like
he was
tonight.
funny.
It's called. It was funny.
And that guy right now, I'm sorry if you're down there in Priscilla, go to the university tomorrow and give him a big hug, because he needs a hug.
I'm not in Tallahassee tonight. I'm in St. Augustine. But I wish I were.
I know, but I'm saying if you're there, give him a hug.
I would.
Yeah.
I mean, I just my heart breaks for him tonight. So
me neither. He needs a hug. He needs a big
Yeah,
hug.
he needs a nice big hug
I
or a steak
know.
from.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Or he
But
needs a
next
steak
year,
from
I
Ruby
mean,
Chris
I wish we were kind
Steakhouse,
of
or
fast forward August.
or some Florida
We've got some great
seafood,
players.
or maybe get a pub sub from Publix,
Yeah.
to get him in the good mood, So
Yeah.
something.
Well,
That'll
you know
help.
what I think? Well, I think this is going to motivate Florida State even more next season, and I think that Florida State is going to win the national championship next year. I mean, I know it's very, very
next
early. We
year?
haven't even ended this year, but I mean, but I think with everything that's happened to them being snubbed, all this and stuff, and then now with this loss, oh my gosh, the only people that are going to think they have a chance is diehard Florida State Seminole Nation and the community. But I personally, which I'm a diehard Seminole fan as well, I really feel that they're going to come back with a vengeance, and they are going to win the first 12-team playoff national championship, and they're going to be the champions next year.
And
So,
funny thing, Florida State getting snubbed and kind of reminds me of, since I'm also an Atlanta Braves fan, a lot of people picked the Atlanta Braves to win the World Series this year, and we lost in the NLDS, to the Phillies, and it's like, maybe Florida State is on a revenge tour next year. I mean, we can win in Dublin against Georgia Tech. I mean, those fans will travel, to Dublin and fill that stadium.
Yeah.
Like it's.
I know a lot of fans. My sorority sisters, some of them, they're going. So I know a lot of fans who would want to go.
Oh, that's cool.
You get a trip. You get to see your Knowles play. You get a really fantastic trip out of it, and I think that they're coming with a big.
You get to go to the Guinness factory and go get some Guinness. You can go see
perfect,
the Emerald Isle. You can go. You can go kiss the Blinding Stone.
That too. That too. But what do y'all think?
Hey guys,
about
I was looking at
recruiting that we got for the early signing period. What are y'all thoughts on
I like our quarterback Luke.
Great kid. He seems
Dominic
I loved what his dad said something today on Twitter, like, we're sticking through thick and thin or something of that nature.
I saw that
exactly.
And,
I like the wide receiver from Baltimore. He's in my neck of the woods, and I didn't realize he got signed to Florida State until the early signing day. I'm like,
oh yeah,
I'm like, wow.
I think he is the best high school player in Maryland, right? That's
Yes,
what
I'm like,
I read.
and that's good for us because we're in Maryland, and we can continue doing stuff with Florida State because we will love to follow him around, when he becomes, because I know freshmen, you don't talk to freshmen until later in the year and all that stuff. Maybe Derek, the SID who's watching this or whatever he's doing, let us talk to him, please.
Yeah, Derek.
Do you guys know which high school that he graduated from?
He's good counsel.
Oh, okay, good.
Are y'all talking about the Maryland one?
Yeah, the Maryland kids from good counsel. It's a good
Okay.
school, a good private school. Priscilla,
Yeah,
you're
well,
in-
I know where that is.
The
Yeah.
recruits.
Yeah, he's really good. It looks like he's a good wide receiver. He had good hands. Yeah,
The recruits we had, the commits we had that didn't stay with us. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, here's my thought with that.
one-
The ones that did not stay with us, you said?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so the ones that did not
Did a
stay
couple
with us,
commits.
well, yeah, they were not going to be right for the Florida State program anyway. Okay, I mean they were ones that
Right,
were
back.
just looking to just come in, and they were just riding. Well, I just think that they weren't right for the program. You want someone that would stick with us through thick and thin, and especially with what transpired tonight. Okay, well, you want someone that's going to stick with us like this. Okay, because we got phenomenal head coach, the whole staff and everything that can develop these young men. And so if you're not going to stick with us all because of one game and a game that we had our second and third stringers, then you don't belong in a Florida State Seminole jersey.
And,
Right, that's true.
wasn't
I agree
there,
with you. I mean, the commits
wasn't
we
there
had,
someone from the it's called
right.
wasn't
The
there somebody
commits
from
we
the
had-
defense? Wasn't there somebody from the defense that committed to Florida State and then he he decommitted, and then he went to, I believe it was Georgia.
Yeah,
So
that
it
guy,
was
free
like,
safety guy. Yeah.
yeah, I was like, and he was one of the top prospects in the country. And I was like, I mean, I wish he would have stayed in
Give him a
Tallahassee,
playing time.
but
Yeah, I don't know. I think we
I
got
don't
some
know.
good ones. You know,
Crazy.
Cam, who stayed loyal, and Luke the entire time. Those are the kind of kids I like to have.
Yeah.
Who mean what they say. I'm 1,000% committed, and they stick there the whole entire time. And then signing day comes, and they do what they said they were going to do. I know they're kids. I get it, but that's the kind of character I'd love for our team to have.
Yeah.
You know.
And let's also talk about there have been reports that Cam Ward, who played at Washington State this year, and DJ Ungale, who played at Oregon State, they've been thinking about transferring to Florida State. So do you think we'll land any of those two? After,
I've seen a lot of talk. Again, it's talk. I don't know. It's hard to know who to believe, because if it's the media, it could be like hyped up. And if it's just some rando on Twitter, you don't know if it's true or not. So I don't really want to. I think we might. Here's the thing. If there's somebody locked in, this is just my opinion, I don't think they would have announced it until after the game, so it wouldn't mess with anybody's heads, or people wouldn't be thinking of that.
Right.
So I don't know if they've got somebody locked in, whether is it DJU? Is that DJ? Is that his name? Or
yeah.
Cam?
Yeah, DJ. DJ Ungale. Yeah.
What's really cool is if we got Cam and now we have Fryer. Do you remember back when Charlie Ward and Fryer played together?
Like we would have. I remember that. I remember. Yes.
Ward and Fryer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be kind of cool. But I don't know. Let's wait and see how this pans out. I hope that these kids realize that this was going to possibly be, and it was a big blowout tonight. And but next year we're still in the top 10 recruiting class, right? We're at 3.
Yeah.
We lost 2 of those recruits. That put us down to 10 or 11. Correct?
Right.
Yes, correct.
Where we sit with the recruiting class for 2024. So, and then we still have the regular signing period. The regular signing day period, which is in what, January or February?
February 5th. February 5th.
Yeah. And Norvell is the portal king, so there's that too.
Oh, he is.
Well, with that he is.
Oh yeah. It's called,
well, I have a question for you guys there on the thing here. Do you think suing the ACC 2 weeks ago before Christmas was that a little more distraction towards the players, because you have to deal with because if you have a lot of talking around the media about Florida State leaving to go to the Big 12 or the Big 10 or the SEC, and you're a player getting ready for the Orange Bowl, how do you tune that out? I feel like that might be a distraction tonight, because you hear, oh, we might play Georgia next year if we're in the SEC. Or, do you think that was a distraction? My brother said no. I think yes. I think there's any issue, you see in baseball, you see in different sports, you have someone getting
distraction of throwing it out there so much or something, or just a distraction in general. I definitely think it was a bit of a distraction. There's no doubt. I mean, how, because if you're going to a certain team and you know which division they're in, that's where you think you're going to go. But then all of a sudden that comes up and you don't know where you're going to end up. And then this happens to us and you don't know, well, they had a perfect season and they didn't get in the playoffs. I mean, there's all of that swirling around. And these are kids. I mean, they're young kids. So that's a lot, to put on a kid's shoulders. It's a lot of decision making. But I think at the end of the day, when you have kids come in who meet our coaches and really get the feel that it is really a family at Florida State. It's a very good family feel, I believe, amongst not just the coaches. The university is, even though, because I went to 3 different colleges. The first 2 were smaller. I played tennis at number 1 at Wesleyan. And even though Florida State is humongous compared to the other 2, it still has a very big family feel to me.
Does.
So definitely the football team and the coaches make it feel that way. From what I have seen and the way they greet the players, they're not disingenuous. They're very warm. You always seem to, whether the players end up with us or not, I always seem to see positive feedback about how they liked them and how they were treated and how they felt being amongst the players and how they were immediately included. So that's huge, especially when kids are leaving from home and going far away, whatever,
Yeah. And it's like, I
but
mean,
again, you're picking where you're going to be.
Yeah. And, it's not just football, Florida State has won national championships in softball, women's soccer. They have a heck of a women's volleyball team. I mean, it's like, you see a lot of Florida State students attend all these games at Mike Martin Field or Joanne Graff Stadium. And it's like, and they will wear their garnet and gold. And, and even if they travel, on vacation, they will wear their garnet and gold and they will support Florida State, no matter where they travel to.
We have some of the best fans in the country. We really do.
We
have some
do.
of the
And
best
it's
fans
like,
in the country, hands down.
Yeah.
I mean, they went off after the playoffs. They were just all over.
I
don't feel sorry for a certain somebody who works at ESPN after that.
I know where you're going, Priscilla. I know where you're going with this, sweetie. Yeah, I know where you're going.
Yeah, I just.
Well, look at the schedule this year. Look at the road schedule.
I'm not boo-hooing over that.
Yeah. Look at the road schedule next year. Look at the road schedule. We have to go to SMU. Who started talking last week about how bad Florida State is, and you're not even in the conference yet? SMU.
Yes.
So we're going to say SMU. Yeah, we're going to show SMU. Welcome to the ACC. I know the Boston College did an okay job up in Fenway, this week, but we'll put a little finishing touch on them, and they're going to realize that you can't run your mouth in the ACC that way, and then. And the same thing with Cal and Stanford. You're coming to our conference now. You don't own, and you're not in the Pac-12 anymore, little guys.
No, we do things a little bit differently here in the ACC. So all you Stanford and Cal fans, I hope you know what you're getting into in SMU, because we've all seen the chatter, and it's like you're not here yet. So why blowing smoke now?
And we got the Irish.
Yeah.
And then we got to go to Notre Dame next year in November. Yeah. So that's going to be cold in November in South Bend. Man and I went there a couple of years ago when it was 14 degrees.
Yep. It was 14 degrees. I was freezing, and it was it was bad.
Yeah. It was So, well, anybody have anything else to talk about? I know we try to make this sound better.
Any other questions?
Any other questions, folks out there?
I'm not going to wake up tomorrow going, "Oh, it feels good to have
I'm going
to do 13 games." But
I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning and don't even watch the highlights. Just turn the channel.
I'm not going to watch Sports Center. I mean, I may watch the Lions and Cowboys highlights and that may be about it. So,
the season's over. Look to the future. So, we've got a lot of great kids that we've already signed on the early signing period. We've got probably some great ones coming in 2024. We've got a good future ahead of us. I think there's a good chance at a national championship in 2024. Huh?
Priscilla, I got just a quick question. So how do you feel about all these opt-outs with the bowl games?
That's a rocky question to answer. Part of me understood it at first, because going back to the beginning of me joining y'all tonight, when I said I watched them one by one come on and say they wanted to really get together, band together, and really try to go for that championship. And had they been a part of the playoffs, who knows what would have happened, right? We'll never know.
True.
But they got the snub. That being said, I would not be truthful to not say I'm not disappointed that so many bugged out.
Right.
I mean, I kind of understand it. You don't want to be injured before you go out for the draft, but on the other hand, it's like there were some people out there tonight. So at least one, right, who's still going to draft. So why couldn't the others? And it bothers me. It does, and then I've seen some people, some former players on Facebook say, well, why can you blame them? They've got to take care of themselves. But they are brotherhood, and that's what they kind of rode on throughout the season. So what happened? You know what I mean? Like, I kind of feel like, if you're asking for my personal opinion, that they should have stuck around and helped the team get through to the very end.
I will agree.
But that's
I'll
me.
agree.
That's me.
I'll agree with that.
I mean, you come this far, it's not what you wanted. And who knows, if they had played everybody and they had won tonight and certain people lost, there's still a really small chance we might have won. I mean, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Certain
That's true.
teams have had to lose in the playoffs. But I'm not saying it would have happened, but we'll never know what would have happened tonight, because I honestly believe that there would be nowhere close to score had we had all those players in there. Our defense was just top of the notch. You can't.
We saw that. We saw that in Charlotte. And
how many of our players got awards this year, like ACC awards? I mean, it ran the gamut.
Jared Verse, I think, got an award. So no. I mean,
on the other hand, when these Gator fans start popping up and going, well, what about the character of you not sticking through thick and thin, your players meaning, and to the end, I'm like, read what the Dodd Award means. Read what the meaning of that is. It's about character. It's about a coach who coaches kids who have excellence on and off the field and character. So I think that they were so frustrated by what happened. Now that I've said how I feel about why they didn't stick around I think the frustration is, we've done, because several of those, I think would have gone for the draft last year, who stayed yet another year. And then I think in their minds, they might've been thinking, well, why should I do this and then this and then this and keep putting that risk out there when I've already done it? And look what came of it. Do you know what I mean? At least they have that ACC championship ring, and that's something to be really super proud of for our guys. It really is. That's huge. But I kind of see their point in that way. They stayed, they did everything they were asked, and they were still told not good enough. So why keep going out there and risking the injury? On the other hand, I'm disappointed because I think they should have stuck through it with their brothers and finished until the very end. But I'll just say it's an ambivalent feeling I have about it. So,
right. Exactly.
It's a hard night for us.
To go.
We've seen our fair share of ups and downs. We'll get through it.
Yeah.
We'll get
through it.
We're resilient. We've got some great guys coming in next year. We're keeping some great guys. So, got to support one another and got to support our guys.
Exactly.
Anybody else got any questions or?
Nope, we're good.
No,
but thank you so much.
Chris, is there any other questions online while on YouTube?
Nope, nothing. I think
of course, Priscilla.
Huh?
Of course.
Well, thanks for coming on.
Good.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me on.
Of course.
It's been fun. Thanks a lot. I hope to join y'all maybe again next year. So go Noles, right?
We'll do it again.
Go Noles.
We'll be back.
Well, go Noles. And you know
Go
what?
Noles.
We're going to take the championship in the 2024-2025 season.
Exactly.
Oh, you think? Well, I hope you're right.
Oh, we should.
I would
We
love
should.
nothing more than that.
I mean, that's a bold
I hope you're
prediction,
right.
but that's my prediction right now. And the 2023 year hasn't even ended yet.
We still got Dave.
But we don't just have to play another team. This again, all my opinions. I feel like we have to play the refs sometimes, and we have to play the announcers. Although the kids can't hear the announcers, but it frustrates us fans to hear them talk about another team more than ours, on and on and on. I literally want to put the TV on mute. I get so sick of it. So it's hard.
It's difficult.
They don't just always go out and play another team.
Exactly. That's true. All right, Priscilla, thank you.
Huh?
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Happy
I
New
You're
Year,
appreciate it.
Priscilla.
welcome. Happy
Come
New
on.
Year to
Have a
everybody.
great
I hope you had a happy holiday
New Year.
season and take care. You
Happy
too.
New Year.
Bye.
All right, thank you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Priscilla.
All right,
Yeah.
Happy New Year. Oh, there she goes, Priscilla Proctor. The daughter of Bill Proctor, who was a famous Florida State alumni. So
Yeah.
she was joining us. So yeah, we got to put this thing to bed. Like when I was a kid, when the Mets lost in Game 7 of the NLCS to the Cardinals and 1-0 to freaking Molina hitting that home run. You got to put it away. You got to move on. Yes, it's always going to be in your crowd. It's going to be in your mind when you walk past the television and somebody goes, you're like, oh God, not that again.
Yeah.
It's like a nightmare.
Well, but again, I would come back and tell them, hey, we play with our second and third string. Okay, Georgia had the majority of their first string in there. Well, they're starters. Okay, so and it's tough going against a two-time defending national champ that their only loss was against Alabama. Okay, so we were fighting an uphill battle with the second and third stringers that we had in there. So, and I mean, I know the score doesn't show it, but Florida State had the heart to at least come out there, play the game, and do the best job that they could with what they had.
Yeah.
And they have nothing to be disappointed about at all. They should be very proud of their season, undefeated regular season, conference champs, undefeated. Yeah.
Exactly. And folks, also, Matt, you and I had a chance to see a real Florida State team at Wake Forest.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
And we saw the real one there. And then we saw the other one at the ACC championship game.
How did we know 3 weeks later or a month later that team was gone? Because of situations like transfer portals, injuries, going to the NFL draft. We didn't know at the time. We were sitting there at the time going, well, we could be we're in the college football playoff, you and I, and we're driving back from Wake Forest that evening, having a great time listening to games on the radio and all that stuff. And, everything's all good. And then the following week, we took on Pittsburgh and struggled. And then that started the downhill spiral because everybody started, well, they couldn't be a Pittsburgh team that was 3-8. They wanted us to beat them by like 90. We had a couple of our players out injured, and I guess now players who are injured doesn't mean shit anymore in this college football playoff. And I think they need to work on the guidelines now. Like, are you going to penalize somebody who have no wide receivers?
True. Yeah, I mean,
and if the committee guy, Mr. Boog, whatever his name, the guy from NC State, you're laughing right now.
Well, his name is Boo Corrigan.
Yeah, so you're laughing right now. You're laughing in your own little house in Raleigh, going. Well, we got news for you, buddy. We will knock the crap out of you next year because Florida State does play NC State, and
I believe it's in. Let's see, Florida State. No, actually, we do not play NC State next year.
Oh, okay.
It's called,
but we play it a year later. But Mr. Boog there, he's sitting in his little country little house in Raleigh, couldn't come out and talk to anybody. He had to hide behind a little Bill Hancock who was retiring. Thank God that old guy is retiring. If the college football playoff people are watching this, I thank God he's retiring. Okay, I think you need new blood in this organization, and the guy who's from Air Force, hopefully he does a good job, keeping away running smoothly. I don't know his name, but hopefully he does a great job. But Mr. Hancock, it's time for you to play golf for a while.
Hit the road, Jack, and don't come back no more.
You basically you started the BCS. Good for you. You basically were put to the gauntlet was his college football playoff thing because you had to do it or else ESPN wasn't going to be in bed with you pretty much.
True.
And you basically don't even care, because if you cared, you would have stepped in and say we got to revote. He just basically just went like this, like I don't want to touch it. So he got his wish. Those guys in Granteville, Texas, got their wish.
True.
I hope they enjoy it, and I hope next year that the ACC. And here's the other thing. I'm sorry to bring people out of the woodwork and smash them right now, but Mr. Phillips, Commissioner Phillips, where were you, dude?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, we saw.
You're a really nice guy. Don't get me wrong. Your family is cute. Your family is very nice. I saw your family a couple years ago. But
yeah, we shook his hand in Charlotte, Chris. It's called when we went on the field. It's like we shook his hand. I was like, ever since all this happened, we have not heard a word from ACC Commissioner Phillips, and it's like,
weird. Well, we have, dude. It's just been through press release. Yeah, but he needs to get on the computer, needs to get on the TV shows, needs to get on our show. If you're out there listening to us, Commissioner Phillips, call me anytime. We'll make it work for you.
Yeah.
Even if we have to do our show at 1:00 in the morning, at a Waffle House down in Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina, I don't care. We'll be down there.
I mean, sure.
I would love to go to the Waffle House at 1:00 in the morning and eat some waffles. Okay, I don't really care. I'm a fat guy.
I'm game. I'm
in. You and Matt, you're game, right? Right, Matt, you're ready. Yeah. So,
hey, anyway. Let's go on another road trip.
Exactly. Well, we're gonna wrap up the show here real quick. The special. We'll be on Wednesday night at 7:30. We have this gentleman coming on joining us. Our good friend Chris Barnes will be dropping by.
And we can ask him about his. We can ask him about his Kansas City Chiefs, since if you don't already know, he's a huge fan.
Well, I'll wear my Chief jersey too, because I'm a Chiefs fan too. So I'd like to ask him his opinion, being a diehard Chiefs fan. 9-5 or 10-5, not even going to be a first round bye. That's going to hopefully go through Baltimore. And you might have to play a playoff game on the road for the first time. Can you feel like, So we'll talk to him. Plus, he will be bowling in the Players Championship and the Elite League in Wichita, Kansas. On the first weekend of February, where they start the following week, right after the national championship, right? So that'll be on the beautiful Fox network with hopefully we'll be Randy Peterson with Dave Ryan or Rob Stone, who does everything.
I actually can say that I will be attending the Tournament of Champions in Akron, Ohio in April. So if you're watching this, you see me there, don't be afraid to come up and say hi. It's called I'll Talk College Football with you. I'll talk about the PBA tour with you, and looking forward to going and taking off another state I've never been to. That, and Akron's home to the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. So I mean, maybe I'll get a chance to ride in the blimp.
We're gonna go see some tires.
Sure. And go ride the blimp. And go ride the famous Goodyear blimp. You never know.
Exactly. Well, folks, we're gonna log off here because we're in our new studio here. This is the new backdrop we got here. If you like it in the back there. I know it's a little pink, but we'll take care of the pink down the road. But it works for right now. But thanks for joining us tonight on a special edition of the Sports Talk with Chris Liddell, and thanks for Priscilla Proctor for joining us. Folks, just go to sleep, go to church tomorrow, get ready for NFL football. You got Dolphins, Ravens, you got Chiefs. Chiefs need to win a game. You got who else is playing? Yeah, Chiefs against
the Bills.
Cincinnati, against Cincinnati and the Bengals. You got Monday Night Football coming up. With they have a special one right now with the Lions up 3-0 on the Cowboys in Dallas. But we thank you all for joining us. Thanks for being part of us for the whole football season. And on Wednesday, we're turning the page a little bit. We'll start slowly turning the page because we have Chris Naki joining us from Maryland, because Maryland taking on Purdue Tuesday night, the #1 team in the country. And this guy will be there, hopefully staying late to get some interviews. So we'll put that on, and we'll get ready for our trip to get ready for some college basketball. So
Yeah.
this is what, 2 months away, folks.
And
Right.
and don't forget the PBA tour's kicking off, soon as well. So we'll get you ready with Chris Barnes.
Exactly. So we'll see you all Wednesday night, and with Chris Barnes live on the phone with us from Vegas, Laura, because Ryan's going to be out there as well. So thanks for everybody. We'll see you soon.
Everyone have a safe and happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy
Thanks
New
for
Year,
joining us in 2023.
Happy
We'll
New
see
Year.
you
All right.
in 2024. And take care.
Yeah. All right, we'll see you.